Well, another week. Well, honestly, almost another week. I'm coming at you today on Saturday, and I'm doing that just because I leave tomorrow for Leech Lake for the Lund fish camp for 4 days. So I'll be up on beautiful Leech Lake, trying my hand at some Leech Lake walleyes, some smallmouth. Not entirely sure what the plan is, but I'll be up that direction, away from the metro. So here it is, Saturday. It is actually the 21st, I think, today. June 21st, so I'm sorry, you get 6 days of a report instead of 7. Come back at you next week. I'll be back in town chasing some fish. So, well, I'll tell you what, spent a lot of time in Minnetonka, a lot of time chasing bass, spent some time in western Wisconsin on Wapo, chasing walleyes, chasing bass, chasing pike, had a muskie on, who knows, right? So we're gonna talk about a strategy, things that are going on. One thing I've seen this week, finally, is warming water temps. Here it is, Saturday, early afternoon. It's like 90 degrees outside. You will sweat. I think the heat index is relatively unsafe this afternoon, evening, even into tomorrow. It's breezy outside, so that could be your saving grace if you're out on the water. But the heat index today, the rest of the day, and tomorrow is quite gnarly. So we've been waiting for that. We've been expecting it at some point. Water temps are going up. We're in the mid 70s now pretty consistently, 74, 75. I bet you by Monday we're going to see some 80-degree water, surface temps in some of these shallow back bays. Things are going to heat up really quick. It should kill off some of that curly leaf pondweed, some of that floating stuff, some of the weirdness going on out there. If you're on the water right now in the Twin Cities, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of floating weeds, a lot of stuff happening with the lake as the fish are. Just trying to figure out life. So trying to figure things out right now. So that's what we're dealing with. So warmer temps. So this last week, man, we dodged and dipped storms, big storms, hail storms. I started out there on Monday with the Denny's, and we had hail come through, darn near damaging size hail. Dodge that. Dodge heavy rains. Super windy, then dead calm. Like, we've just seen it all this week, and it kind of makes things frustrating but exciting and challenging. So we've dodged a lot of storms. I went to Wapo in Wisconsin. I swear the only storm that hit western Wisconsin on Thursday was the 5-mile wide band that went right down the gullet of the lake. We could not get out of it. We had to dock up. We had to go inside. Lightning, thunder, pouring rain, the whole 9 yards. So this instability can definitely impact fishing patterns. We've had a lot of conversations with some of you off the grid, private messaging, whatever, and these unstable conditions will throw off your pattern. Don't get frustrated. That is going to happen, and that's expected to happen with some of these conditions. It's going to rapidly change what the fish do. So I've done some walleye fishing this week. We've chased some fish. We started the week off with water temps back in the 60s, which is weird. They're not there anymore, but it did start in the 60s. I mean, it was chilly on Monday. Jack went with me to the Denny's. We got the teams going. We went walleye fishing. Overcast skies, a little bit of misty rain, cooler temperatures. We caught a bunch of walleyes in the morning, still in the weeds, 6 to 10 feet of water, broken record. We caught them on jig and plastic, drop TGs, plastic minnows. We caught them on jig worm. I'm gonna show you our two best presentations. Now, you can fluctuate on color. We caught them on a dark jig head and a perch pattern pretty well, but that drop TG, that chartreuse green drop TG, and I don't even know the color of this mooch minnow. It's a little chartreuse green pumpkin-y looking mooch minnow. That caught a lot of fish on Tonka and Wapo. Fishing the OW walleye. I haven't really released this fully yet to the world. It's a Thorne Brothers custom I worked with. You saw my OW crappie. This is an OW walleye, basically a medium leg blank. A little bit off the tip. We're gonna run this clean with a split grip. Works exceptionally well. It's a 7'2" rod. Super nice for pitching jigs, for working through cover, for snapping through the weeds. Sometimes the medium light rod is just not enough, but you don't want to go to a medium. That's why I designed the OW walleye. Works great with an 1/8 ounce jig head, 3 16th ounce jig head. You could probably get by with a 16th ounce jig head, but I'd probably go to a medium light for that. But for the bulk of my fishing, we talk about these weed walleyes all the time. This is the absolute perfect rod. Put a 3000 series Shimano Mirabelle, not an overly expensive reel, great drag system, very smooth. I got some 10-pound test braided line to a 8-pound test fluorocarbon leader, and boom, away we go. So that setup caught them all over the place. The other bait that was continuing to do really well is your drop TG ringworm, Mr. Twister ringworm SI salt. There's salt in this now, so the SI version ringworm. That same chartreuse green jig head, for whatever reason, that just seems to get bit. And we got the chartreuse pepper. This caught all kinds of fish, from walleyes to bass to pike, you name it. And that's just a good all-around, just go fishing bait. This is built up on a Predator rod from Thorne Brothers. This is a 7'3" Predator rod, similar action to the OW crappie. This is a medium light, so it's a little lighter, a little quicker tip. And I'm running a 2500 series Shimano 10-pound braid, fluorocarbon leader. You get the drill. Super sensitive, waiting for those light bites. Sometimes they just pick it up in the weeds, and sometimes they just slam it in the weeds. So that 1-2 punch minnow ringworm combination seemed to be pretty effective to catch walleyes and just to go fishing. So the walleye bite continues. It definitely tapered off as the week went on, especially here in the Twin Cities. I think we're going to start to see prime time bites really mattering, meaning sunrise, sunset, the hour after dark. I think that's going to be your key window here coming out of the gate with this warm weather ticking and everything kind of finally going to summer patterns. So we've shifted gears a little bit to bass, because as a guide, I want hook sets. I want people catching fish. And the bass bite right now in the Twin Cities, I think, is pretty fire. We've caught a lot of fish on wacky rigs, caught a lot of fish on Neds. They're starting to do the Ned thing. They're going to do the Ned thing even more. Probably by the time you watch this video, they're really starting to make that transition out. One thing we've done recently to get a few more bites is because they're kind of transitioning out of like that inside weed line relating to bluegill beds to like kind of in it. So we're still fishing a Cometa SI. Sorry, Mr. Twister now has salt in their Cometas, which I absolutely love. And we're just fishing it weedless Texas rigged, just like this. So same concept, pitch it, no weight, let it just kind of float down, snap it through, let it float through the weeds. But you're not getting snagged up as much. We're still using the same spinning rod. You're using a medium action spinning rod, 20-pound braid to a fluorocarbon leader, 3000 series Shimano reel. This is my OW bass rod, which also is kind of soft launch. This is the medium action blank with a little bit off the tip, because a lot of times I want a little more than a medium rod. I don't want a medium heavy. So the OW bass gives you kind of that versatility to really effectively fish everything from wacky rigs to this style of Senko style bait to a Ned rig to a jig worm to you name it. So that's the OW bass. But that weedless Texas approach has allowed us to fish some of the same cover with all these weird weeds we're seeing this year, but not just get snagged up all the time if you're fishing an exposed wacky hook. I think the exposed wacky hook, if you can get away with it, is going to be probably your most foolproof way to get bit. That's what Cindy won the tournament on a few days ago. A couple days ago, yesterday on Tonka, she just fished an exposed wacky rig and she kicked some butt. Cindy, great job, got the W there, and $7,400 went to the Ronald McDonald House. So really fun to watch. I played Netman, which I absolutely enjoy. Acrobatic bass, we lost some big fish. Really fun day. So that's kind of what we're seeing. Those bass are in transition, 6 to 10 feet. There are some fish up shallower around bluegill beds if they're still there, but we're going to slowly see that transition happen to the more immediate outside weed line where you're going to be pitching Neds, jig worms. And I bet you real quick here, because it looks like a lot of warm weather coming up, they're going to continue to just really set up in their summer pattern. So we'll see. We'll report back on that. Like I said, I'm going north to cooler, I hope, cooler conditions, because here I am sitting in my garage early afternoon on a Saturday, and I'm just sweating in shorts and a sun shirt. So we're gonna get some heat. I'm gonna take a dip in the pool. We got some friends coming over today for a little bit of a barbecue, and like I said, I'm gonna pack, get loaded, put my walleye hat on more than I have, and it sounds like I actually have to fish a walleye lake versus me just learning how to do it on Minnetonka. I'm gonna go to Leech. I'm gonna learn from some of the best. I know there's some other guys up there joining me for this trip that are way better than me at doing this. I got some pointers from JR Civic yesterday on Tonka. He's a walleye nut, kind of gave me some lay of the land up there and some things to do. So gonna try it out, gonna see what happens. And then back here in the Twin Cities later next week for some more trips. And then I'm actually gonna take a trip back to Wapo, to Wisconsin. So we're gonna have a smorgasbord. I'll touch on some Leech Lake findings next weekend as well. So if you have a Leech Lake trip coming up, I'll give you my best attempt at what we found in 4 days up there and what's working. So next week's report's going to be a little bit of a mutt, a little bit of everything, but that's okay. I didn't really chase a lot of panfish this week. We did catch some some panfish on Monday. Jack and I fishing the little Z-Man Neds. They make a little Ned head and a little Ned plastic. It's like cute. It's that big. It's tiny. We caught a bunch of panfish on that and some bass and some other fish. So that was just kind of like throw it on the OW crappie rod, 5-pound test line, pitch it around. It's spitting image of a Ned, but just that. Kind of cool deal. Caught a lot of fish on that. Kind of something fun. So panfish seem to be, crappies are definitely moving into their summer patterns. Bluegills are on the tail end of their spawn, but accessible. You can catch them. If you're catching some big bluegills on their beds, let them go. We've talked about that, and away we go. So that's kind of what we're seeing. We'll see what happens this week. We'll see what happens with this really warm weather the rest of today and tomorrow, and what changes. And if anyone has any comments or feedback, by all means, fire away. Otherwise, have a great rest of your weekend. Stay warm, or you will stay warm. Stay cool, hydrate, enjoy it, and we'll see you next week. Have a great time. Be safe. Set some hooks.